If I was asked to describe writing, research, and technology in 2 words, it would be uncomfortable and beneficial. Throughout the semester, I have been pushed to step outside my comfort zone based on the projects given and the situations I have been faced with. I have experienced breakdowns and successes with the projects and assignments. Additionally, I believe I have most definitely connected with some of the writing arts core values. I will take you through my progress in writing, research, and technology. The digital oral history was the first project given for this class and my first experience with Weebly. I also experienced my first of many breakdowns in this class. As my first digital writing project, I had to decide how to take the videos of my interviews, edit them together, upload it to YouTube, and then transfer it to Weebly. I had to learn how to use iMovie in order to edit the videos into a cohesive video of my interviews. Then I had to learn how to upload it to Weebly. Not only did I have to decide how to do the actual projects, I had to create and conduct the interviews. After many hours, mistakes, and trial and errors, I finally developed something that I am proud of. Before doing this project, I would have considered myself a digital native. However, ironically enough, after this project, I decided I was somewhat of a digital immigrant. I had to spend a lot of time to discover how to use programs like iMovie or YouTube that I thought I would be able to do in a second. I had some realizations from this project as well. Putting a video together is like finding quotes to use from a scholarly article for a paper. However, for this, I learned that editing the videos from the interviews were like picking out specific quotes in an article. Here's a video that I edited together that I thought answered the questions. Here you'll see one of my breakdowns, which was trying to take a video of someone I was not with through Skype.
What do you think we as digital natives do that digital immigrants don't? For example, like, would you read more as a digital immigrant?
Yeah.
Like, read books?
You would, yeah. They read books instead of, like, we read things on Nooks or on iPhones or computers or websites and stuff, but they definitely do more of the, like, newspaper, book, letter kind of.
You notice digital immigrants do that digital natives do not?
Resist change.
I also realized that this project, along with every other project in the class, relates to one of the writing arts core values. The digital oral history allowed me to understand the impact evolving technologies have on the creation of written texts. For example, instead of picking quotes from an article, I had to pick them from my recorded videos. My video shows how the new technology of video taking and YouTube is like a written text, just now a digital text. Additionally, I had to use technology such as YouTube and Weebly to display my final product instead of turning it in on paper. The Twitter was a project unlike one I have ever done before. I was required to step away from my comfort zone in order to complete it. I ran into breakdowns. Majorly. How was I supposed to take my tweets and create an entire project based on them? So, I took it step by step. I began by explaining each one of my 27 tweets, some that can be shown here. Once I did this, I discovered some of my tweets had a common theme, which was that I was on the edge of childhood and adulthood and that I was beginning to take responsibility for myself. So I began discussing responsibility. I focused mainly on the definition of responsibility and talked about how I fit or did not fit the definition. This process resulted in a lot of writing and led me to another aspect of responsibility. So I went a bit deeper into it and discussed accountability. But instead of focusing on myself, I talked about the different types of accountability, which required me to do some research. I talked about how other people are accountable. For example, accountability in education, and I put a video of how a teacher did not take accountability for his student. After, I decided to get other outside sources to bring in other voices besides my own. So I went back to Twitter. I asked my followers what life would be like without responsibility. I was surprised by many of the different responses I received and decided to include them in my own narrative. I believe that each one of these drafts was important and focused in on a specific part of my overall theme. Therefore, I combined all my drafts to compose my final version. This product led me to another core value, that I will demonstrate self-critical awareness of my own writing. I learned a lot about myself as a writer during this project, especially since I had to talk about a common theme about my tweets, which were personal thoughts that I just so happened to share with my followers. I had to go in depth into certain topics like responsibility and accountability in order to produce this product. Additionally, this project had to be done solely by me. Although I did ask my professor for assistance, I had to rely on myself to produce something I was proud of. I had to criticize my own writing in all parts of the writing process, including revision. The YouTube and Wikipedia projects were very interesting because although they were somewhat simple, it took a lot of effort and thought. I had difficulties during this project as well. It's easy enough to write a little comment on a YouTube video, but I had to write a comment in the role as the interrogator. I had to write comments that had substance to receive a response from not only my group members, but other commenters as well. I was thrilled when one of the commenters that was not one of my group members responded. However, this comment was somewhat harsh and rude. He said, the commenter faced what's ahead, their attempts this far have not come to fruition, but the idea is there in the back of their minds. They know it is not right, and they are brainstorming. Their ideas are blowing up because of this tessellative possibilities. I assure you, these people can be encouraged to attempt and do exactly this, sir. I assure you of that. Run and tell that. Without thinking of the dangers of the internet, I gave somewhat of a snappy response back. I said, how do you know all of this, ma'am? How can you assure me of something that you aren't a part of? Or are you? Run and tell me that. After researching a bit more on the commenter, named Face What's Ahead, I realized I should have been a bit more reserved. I decided this based on the videos. Here's a sample of one of them with his main idea of niggerizing.
Oh, hold on. Okay. How irresponsible. I see the truck and everything. I get worried for you. Hey, don't let them niggerize you, all right? Peace, man.
Peace.
Oh, thank you for watching.
I quickly determined that I should not use my full name in order to protect my identity. For the Wikipedia project, my group members and I had to pick a topic that would allow each of us to get involved. When we decided on social media and split up the work, the next step was finding research and writing it in a way that would be beneficial and accepted by Wikipedia. Once that was done, I had to learn how to use the codes to edit the writing into Wikipedia. Then I had to put it into Weebly. So these simple projects turned into a long process. I also had a problem with Wikipedia actually finding my research credible. Although all of my work is real and true, I keep finding that Wikipedia is removing my portion of the project. However, through this project, I was led to another core value. I learned to demonstrate an understanding of a variety of genre conventions and exhibit rhetorical adaptability in these conventions. I had to learn to write using Wikipedia and YouTube instead of a paper and pencil, something I discovered I'm not very comfortable with. Actually, this core value relates with all the other projects as well, due to the fact that this class required me to use different conventions of writing rather than just a pencil and paper or Microsoft Word. I found I am much more comfortable with a professor asking me to write a 4-page paper on a topic instead of creating my paper digitally. This, again, makes me believe I am more of a digital immigrant than a native, and I am somewhat against change. The collaborative research project was the last project and probably the most difficult. Due to the situation I had with Fate's What's Ahead on YouTube, we decided to focus on identity on the internet. After finding the research, we had to find a way to create a collaborative Weebly site that shows off all the information we found. This was hard. We had to learn to work together. While some group members put in their part, others did not, which is extremely frustrating in a group project. We also had difficulty putting both our voices and the voices of our authors from our research into our group Weebly and tying it all together with hyperlinks to make it collaborative. Personally, I had problems as well, some that ironically tied into my topic. I began the project as a Twitterive instead of a research paper. I believe this is due to the fact that it was not a formal research project but had to be done online, which automatically made me think it was less formal. So I basically put in all of my ideas of the articles and research I found rather than providing the actual research and beliefs of the articles from the authors. After talking to my group members and professor, I realized my mistakes, and this led me to my second draft of my portion. This is where I began adding in the thoughts and research findings from the authors, and then I added what I thought about it. I found a great journal article from an author named Suraj Hangladharam that I definitely wanted to use in my Weebly. However, I did not know his identity due to his name. Luckily, I was able to email him and Google him in order to discover his true identity. This collaborative research project led me to the core value of being able to investigate, discover, evaluate, and incorporate material into the creation of text. In this case, the creation of text in an unorthodox method, since we used Weebly. Again, I realized I had an extremely difficult time with this core value, especially since I was required to incorporate this material into a digital text, making me feel more like a digital immigrant. Throughout the semester, my group members and I had to keep a blog. This is one of the projects that I am extremely fortunate for. Although in the beginning my group members and I discussed the readings, later on we were able to discuss the projects. This was a place where we could ask questions and receive answers. This blog also made me feel more at ease because I learned that my group members were having just as many breakdowns as I was. Additionally, I learned that they had the same questions as I did, so we were able to help each other out. Overall, writing, research, and technology has made me a stronger writer. I have learned different strategies and writing spaces that allowed me to reach and hopefully succeed in the writing arts core values. Although I thought I was a digital native, I realized I am somewhat of a digital immigrant due to the many breakdowns and difficult situations I was in. However, I am now not as uncomfortable in untraditional projects, such as the ones I discussed, and am much more relaxed digital immigrant with these websites and technologies. I can now face my breakdowns and overcome them instead of running away.